everybody, and welcome to my channel, Alaisa in Japan. Thank you for joining me. It's been such a long time since I've been on YouTube, and I'm back now. The last time I made a YouTube video was back in 2013 when I went to Japan for a 6-week exchange in high school. And now I'm back because I am going to Japan for 5 months for a semester now that I'm in college. And it's gonna be super interesting, and I'm very excited to start this new YouTube series on my new travels in Japan. Today's video is just a start off to explain why I'm doing it and the process that I had to go through to get all my documents and apply to study abroad. And it's been a very, very long process, and I just think it would help people who also are deciding to study abroad someday and maybe even to Japan. So I just wanted to start off by saying I've always wanted to go back to Japan. When I went back in high school, it was such an eye-opening experience, and I just wanted to relive that again and even go for an even longer time and work on my Japanese skills. So in college right now, my major is global affairs and my minor is Japanese language. So I always wanted to be fluent in Japanese, so I think that studying for a semester in Japan would definitely help me increase my Japanese ability. So that's kind of why I want to go back, and I think it would also be awesome to put on a resume and help me with jobs in the future and maybe even get some internships. This is also my senior year in college. I'm starting my senior year, and so half of it, the first semester, will be in Japan, and I'm going to come back and finish school in the United States. So to get started on the process of how I became an exchange student now, I kind of wanted to go over kind of the application process, and then I will go into after I getting accepted and everything I needed to do to get my visa, passport, things like that. So for my university, before the spring semester started in January, the applications to study abroad opened December 5th, and you need to complete them as soon as possible because it's rolling admission. So the faster you complete them, the faster you will probably get accepted. So they opened December 5th, and I completed all the steps, including getting my transcripts in by December 8th. Originally, I wanted to go to Sofia University because I've heard a lot about its program, and it was amazing, and I've heard from others who went, and they had a great time. But unfortunately, this year, they didn't have any semester programs and only year-long programs, so I chose to go with a different university that my school is partnered with, which is Hosei University, which is also in Tokyo. And I applied for that, and that was, I finished that by December 8th, and I got a response back at the beginning of January, so a month later, and I had been waitlisted for the program. The Japanese programs are super competitive, and even though I applied as soon as the applications came out, I still got waitlisted for 3rd place, but the program director contacted me and said that there was more spots in a different program for Soka University, which is still in Tokyo. And she said that if I applied, then I could get into that program since there was more spaces. So I said, okay, well, I applied for the program, and I got accepted into that program March 19th. So I got accepted to that program. So I just want to go over what this application entails going into these programs. So for the general application, it requires just general information, an application fee of about $150, your passport information, transcripts from your university, and if you had a transfer institution like I did, I went to community college, so I had to give those transcripts as well, and my university transcripts. And these copies cannot be accepted from students, so they need to be official transcripts from your university. So you can get this through Parchment if your university is Parchment, and your school should be able to do your transcripts. So I had to wait until the spring semester was over to send my official transcripts from my university. And so I sent both of those in, which is fine. And that was just for Hosei University when I applied for Hosei. When I transferred to Soka, I had to get an additional recommendation letter from a professor, and I had to write a student letter of intent, which basically explained why I wanted to go and why it would help me in the future. So all different programs for my university have different requirements. So you can see Hosei had different requirements, and Soka I had to do extra for that one. But generally, for my university, I had to have at least 45 credits completed, and transfer students had to be at the university for at least one semester in order to apply for a study abroad program, and for Soka I had to have a GPA of at least 2.5. And so for my school, the website has its own page of information about each of the programs and a budget sheet which breaks down the average cost of the program and what they're spent for. And prices for the programs are not the same. My university tuition was the same, and financial aid can be used for that. So that was pretty cool. So for example, a semester at Soka University is cheaper than one at Hosei. And this is because housing, books, meals, transportation, visa, airfare, it can change depending on which destination you're going to. And also to keep in mind, if you're an out-of-state student, just like your regular university tuition, it could cost as much as twice as much than regular tuition for studying abroad. So after I got accepted, which was around March, there's even more steps that you have to complete. So you have to first accept and commit to the program, and you have to pay an administrative fee, which was about $375 for me for a semester. If you have a year-long or maybe a summer program, the price can change higher or lower depending on what it is. And you also have to complete a application of your partner university. So you completed one for your home university, but you also have to complete one from the university you're going to in Japan or wherever country you're going to. And then you need to submit some documents so that the school can do your visa for you, or get your certificate of eligibility, which allows you to get your visa. And so you submit this to your home university, and then they send it to your partner university, and it just makes the process for getting your visa done a lot easier. So these documents were 2 passport photos, and they can be taken at Walgreens or CVS. And my program only required 2 copies of passport photos, but depending on your program, it could maybe get 1, 3, 4, and however much it was. And it's not that expensive. Mine only was $14 when I went to get them taken. I took them at a CVS. You need to submit a statement of financial eligibility, and this is a document saying that someone will support you financially while you're in Japan, and if you require money, they will be able to send it to you, and you have to be able to provide proof that you have this money. And so I'm pretty much supporting myself, and it's because I had saved a lot beforehand, so I completed this form as me being my own supporter. But I also added my father and my parents just in case I needed something. But according to me, I'm supporting myself on this form. And you also need to complete a certificate of health, which is basically a physical form. Every program's health form looks different, and all you do, take it to a doctor, and they will give you a physical exam, fill out the form. For mine, it required me to know my blood type, and I need to get a chest x-ray. So I had to get blood drawn to make sure my blood type was correct, and I had to go to the hospital to get an x-ray to look for tuberculosis and things like that. And nothing was wrong with me, and I submitted that. Another thing is, after you submit those, you also need to submit this form called a petition of transfer credit, and this determines the classes that you can take. Each program has a link to courses that are at each of the partner universities, and you pick which classes you think you want to take and what their corresponding class would be at your university. And once they're approved by your department, they sign them off and make sure the class is correct. And the document can also be amended. It's not 100%. So for me, I don't know exactly the classes I'm going to take, since I need to take my Japanese placement test, and I also need to look at different things. So these are kind of just like placeholder classes, just an idea of what I want to do. And then if you decide to take different classes while you're at your university, you can also change the form and just get it signed off when you come back. and it's better to have more classes signed off than necessary as a backup just in case. And then some point during this time, you also have to attend an orientation at your home university that goes over basic travel safety, rules, regulations, and also problems that you can run into during your time abroad. And so once I got my official acceptance from Soka University, then I was able to buy my plane ticket for Japan. And there are two main airports in Japan, Haneda and Narita. The most popular is Narita, but I chose to go to Haneda because I've never been at that airport before, and also it's closer to my university. And within the acceptance package that Soka University sent me, there was more paperwork that I had to fill out, and this included a dormitory application to choose which dorm I wanted to stay in, a measles questionnaire, and this was basically a form to make sure you got your measles and rubella shots up to date, and a Google form to fill out your arrival information, which is which airport you're flying to, the time and day you're going to arrive, and these forms had to be turned in quickly so they can get them processed. And after that, the final step that I had to do was apply for my visa. And because I submitted the forms through my university and the school, it became a lot easier to process. So a student visa is just an endorsement on your passport that allows you to be in a country for a specified period of time as a student. And a visa for Japan is only required if you're staying longer than 3 months. The university in Japan takes care of most of the work for you. So it might take a while to get the certificate because the school has to process it with the Immigration Bureau. My certificate of eligibility came about 2.5 weeks before I leave for Japan, and once the school sends you your certificate of eligibility, then you can apply for your visa application. And then, so what you need to do is you need to take this certificate of eligibility, a passport picture, a copy of your certificate of eligibility and your passport, and also information for your guarantor in Japan, which is basically a person who is in charge of the program, who is saying that yes, you're part of this program and you can come over here, and that's the information that you might need to put on your visa application. And I also chose the option, so you need to take this to your nearest embassy. So that's what I did. My nearest embassy is in Washington DC, which is about 3.5 hours away from where I live. And so I went up there and applied for that application, or applied for my visa, and then instead of having to go back up and pick it up because it's not ready the same day, it takes about a week to process. I chose the option of it getting mailed back to me. So they take your passport and all the information you gave them, and to get it mailed back, I chose to get you need to get a prepaid express envelope from USPS and give that envelope to them prepaid and fill out the information on it, and that was about $24. And so once I have the envelope, then they can send you back your passport with your visa in it, and I got that about 6 days after I went to the embassy to apply for it. They also had me sign a disclaimer which stated that they weren't responsible for it getting lost or damaged or anything like that, and I signed that and gave it to them. And then it was ready. And then once you have your visa, that's everything you need, and that's pretty much it. And so I go to Japan in a couple days, and my next video will be about packing. And if you have any questions about your application process, visa, passports, anything like that, just leave them down in the comments, subscribe, and keep following me in Japan for more interesting videos. Thank you.